about to pleasure your aural cravings comes from the man of the law. The man of the law was a lawyer, a high-priced attorney of sorts. He was very scholarly and knew of every judgment, case, and crime ever recorded since King William's time. Before beginning the story, the man of the law argues that Chaucer has already written about all the good stories in the world, and that there's nothing left to be told. Nevertheless, he begins to tell his story, but warns that he is a plain-spoken man, and that his story will not rhyme. His story is one that he heard from a merchant long, long ago, and it goes like this.
Once upon a time there was a group of merchants from the land of Syria. These merchants were very wealthy and traded with many nations. While trading in Rome, they heard about the Roman emperor's stunningly beautiful daughter named Constance. When the merchants returned to Syria, they reported their great discovery to the Sultan of Syria. The Sultan was overwhelmed with lust and desire for the beautiful, virtuous woman. The Sultan decided that he wanted to take Constance to be his wife. Since the Christian emperor would not allow his daughter to be married to a Muslim sultan, the Sultan was baptized and converted to Christianity. He then instructed all of his subjects to become Christians as well. The Roman emperor then agreed to allow Constance to be married to him. When the day came for Constance to leave Rome, she wept with despair because she was about to leave her homeland in order to marry someone she had never met. However, being the Christian woman that she was, she prayed that Jesus Christ would give her strength to fulfill his purpose. Meanwhile, the Sultan's evil mother gathered her council and told them that she would rather die than renounce Muhammad's law. She decided that she would pretend to accept Christianity until the wedding feast, where she would slay all of the Christians.
The Christians arrived at Syria for the wedding feast. At the feast, the Sultan's mother and her conspirators brutally murdered all the Christians, including the Sultan himself. The only one they did not kill was Constance. They then took Constance and put her on a ship with no rudder and cast her out to sea. After a year and a day of roaming the sea, the ship landed in the northern island of Northumberland, where the warden of the castle and his wife found Constance and took her in. Constance refused to reveal her identity because she was in a pagan land where Christians had to practice their faith in secret, but she secretly converted the warden's wife to Christianity. Soon after, the warden was also converted to Christianity by Constance. A young knight from Northumberland, influenced by Satan, fell in love with Constance, but she did not return his love. In an act of vengeance, the knight murdered the warden's wife and placed the knife beside Constance in her bed. Constance was taken to King Ulead, the king of Northumberland. The knight insisted that Constance had committed the murder. The people spoke out on Constance's behalf, unable to believe that Constance had done such a crime. King Ulead commanded that the knight swore on a book that Constance was responsible for the murder. The moment the knight did this, he was struck down, dead. When King Ulead witnessed this miracle, he was also converted to Christianity. Soon after, King Ulead and Constance fell in love, and King Ulead decided to take Constance for his wife.
While the king was away fighting a war, Constance gave birth to their beautiful son. But the king's mother, Donegal, an evil and vicious woman, intercepted and replaced the message bearing the happy news with letters of her own, saying that the king's son was born before him. In his response, King Ulead said he would accept the child, but Donegal intercepted that message as well and wrote a false one saying that King Ulead wanted to have the child destroyed. When they received this message, Constance was banished from the land and put back on the same boat she had come in on. When King Ulead returned from battle, he discovered what had happened and was heartbroken. Then, King Ulead murdered his mother for her cruelty and for being a traitor. In the meantime, poor Constance washed up on another heathen land, where the warden steward of a nearby castle came upon the ship. He demanded that Constance become his mistress. Both Constance and her child cried bitterly, But Jesus Christ sent the Virgin Mary to come to her aid, and in the struggle that ensued, the steward fell overboard and drowned in the sea.
While this was happening, the Emperor of Rome, Constance's father, heard the tragic news and sent an army to Syria to avenge their deaths. As the army returned to Rome, they spotted the vessel that carried Constance, and although they did not recognize Constance, they took her to Rome. At the same time, King Aela made a pilgrimage to Rome to seek forgiveness for killing his mother. While in Rome, he saw a child that bore a strong resemblance to Constance. He soon discovered the circumstances of Constance's arrival and went to meet with her. He explained the false message and convinced Constance of his love for both her and their son. When he finished explaining, the couple kissed 100 times and were blissfully happy. King Aela and Constance returned to Northumberland, but within a year, King Aela died. Constance and her son then returned to Rome, where the child, upon the death of his grandfather, became the new emperor, thus ending the tale.